And then we get one of the best lines I've ever read in a manga because of how much it just absolutely murdered me. It caught me off guard to levels that I cannot even begin to express. It just was complete left field, and by no means would I ever anticipated this to come. Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
I'll let you suckle my teats if you let me gobble your schlong.
I know.
Oh, my God. When that happened, I lost it. What's up, everyone? Welcome into AniMan Plus. I'm your host, Alex Light, with Sparky3. Hopefully you are having a phenomenal day today, whatever day you're listening or perhaps watching this podcast. Over our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Sparky3. We got some interesting stuff to talk about today. We are going to talk about some Hunter x Hunter stuff going on. We have Dandadan, of course, where we're talking about our thoughts on that series. That series is absolutely just incredible. Looking forward to talking about that. We got some awards we're going to kind of run through with some mangas going on right now. Kind of give some praise there. Our normal anime talks, manga sales, all the gist there. Joining with me, as always, here on the phone, I do got Josh. Josh, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good today. It was a long day, but I made it through.
Now. That's all that matters, right? We do have no Zach today. Let me cut to his camera. No Zach today, unfortunately. It's actually funny, man. He mentioned to me like 2 weeks ago, he's like, by the way, I will not be here on this day. I have to go out of state and do this. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I even made a joke, like, I'll watch Dragon Quest that week just for the memes. And I texted him earlier, hey, man, can you come over and help me out and get some stuff set up? He's like, I see you forgot that I'm not in town. I'm like, I racked my brain for like a solid minute. I'm like, where the fuck is he? Because I do not know. But anyway, we're gonna miss you here today, Zach, but don't worry, I'll take care of the cameras. We got this. Me and Josh are gonna have a great time. So just a friendly reminder, we're so close. It's almost here. Episode 50 of AniMan Plus is coming, and ironically enough, we've got it perfectly lined up where episode 50 is gonna be recorded on our 1 year anniversary of AniMan Plus. It's gonna be a big deal. Get excited.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome, man. We're gonna be breaking down 50 incredible fights in anime, manga, and webtoon. This is a list that we've put off for a very long time. Zach has been against it for the longest time, but we're finally gonna tackle it. Looking forward to it.
The irony of this, of like putting it off for so long and Zach being against it, it was probably the easiest list I've ever put together in my life.
I mean,
like, I always have a hard time for like bonus casts and stuff when we do special episodes. It was so easy. I had it done like in an hour.
I'm still not done. I'm still racking up options is what I'm still doing. I'm still racking up options, man. I can understand why it's a tough list. I can, because there's just so much out there. But I mean, just, it is pretty easy to narrow down ones where you're just like, okay, this is fantastic, this is fantastic, this is fantastic. But then narrowing it down to a list of 50 across everything in the landscape, ooh, that is tough. We're going to get some people that are going to be upset with that list, but it's all right. Probably the same way with Lighthearted Gamers episode 50, where we talked about 50 incredible video games. You have not checked that out, make sure to do so, as well as just the regular show for Lighthearted Gamers. We got lots of good stuff going on over there. More stuff to come, exciting stuff. Make sure to go follow us on Twitter at AniMan Podcast, and for Lighthearted Gamers, go follow us at LH Gamers Podcast. And yo, it's coming. It's finally coming. A Terrible Football Show is launching September 9th. Get excited. Episode 1 is going to launch. Really excited for that one. And lastly, if you want to support us further, the Patreon is a great way to do so, but don't feel obligated. But, just listening to the show is enough. Be a friend, tell a friend, and we can call it good. All right. With all that said, I got the mouthful out, ran through the entire intro perfectly. Love it. Love to see it. Love to see it. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's hit the first piece of news we have here, which is a little bit on a down note, unfortunately. So just recently, I think it was like sometime late last week, a few days ago, whatever, Hunter x Hunter just recently passed 1,000 days of no chapter updates. Moment of silence. Moments passed.
Yeah.
Man, look. So here's my take on this, and I'm sure Josh, you're gonna feel the same way as a lot of Hunter. You're the biggest Hunter x Hunter fan on this show between me, Zach, and yourself. So I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this. But my take on this is, first and foremost, always prioritize yourself. This is a friendly reminder to anyone listening in any form or fashion, whatever you're doing with your life, make sure to prioritize yourself. Prioritize your health, your mental health, physical health, whatever. Prioritize that, and I'm dead serious. So all the props in the world for him, always, having to prioritize his health because of his physical health, and I'm not knocking that at all. I'm not sitting here beating the table saying let's get a chapter out, because obviously I'm not even a Hunter x Hunter fan to begin with. But what I am saying is just end the series. Just call it done, and just call it done, or just go ahead and look to hire someone to do the art and you just do the story, right? I understand he wants to do it himself. I get it. I mean, his wife, of course, did Sailor Moon. So, there is some backup there, and I'm sure she'd be willing to help. I'm sure she has offered in the past. But at this point, man, 1,000 chapters, 1,000 days gone of no chapter update. Just in the series, or in the series, or have an artist take over. Because here's the thing about the artist taking over. I guarantee you, there is plenty of young, unbelievably talented artists that grew up with Hunter x Hunter that would kill for the opportunity to draw this manga in Weekly Shonen Jump. Josh, you as a Hunter x Hunter fan, how does it make you feel that we've passed 1,000 days of no chapter updates, and just what's your thoughts on the state of the series, and where would you like to see it go? Obviously, you'd like to see it finish, but due to the circumstances, are you on the same boat as me, or are you on a different stance here?
Well, so it has been 1,000 days since the last chapter, which is really sad. But at this point, kind of not noticeable, because you tend to forget that it's actually a still ongoing manga that's Shonen Jump list on its roster. That's
big true.
So as far as it goes, like if it just ends, then there's never a new chapter. I'm fine with it, because that's it. Like, I won't get any more. There's not where it's at right now, since it's been so long. It's not like I'm chomping at the bit, because the new arc that had started, it is kind of rough to get into. So I always see it end with Gon finding his dad, and Hisoka finally having his match with Crollo. Like, that's kind of where I see it. And there's a lot of storylines that are unresolved, but it is what it is. As far as him just throwing in the towel, I don't see him doing that. From what I understand, he's very determined to finish it, and I can't verify this, but I did read that his wife had vowed that she would finish it if he couldn't. Because like you said, she did Sailor Moon. She's basically the backup artist for Hunter x Hunter since the beginning. So, if anyone can finish it, it would be her.
True.
I have 100% faith in it. And as far as him getting a new artist, I think that's part of the problem, is he wants to do the art
right
as much as the story. And you're right. There's probably a plethora of young artists that would love to jump at the chance for this. And it worked out well with, Dragon Ball Super. I feel like it's working out pretty well with Boruto. So who knows? Maybe that's something that could happen in the foreseeable future. I'm sure there's enough written that, it probably could start serialization again if, an artist was there to pick it up.
Right.
But at the end of the day, while I'm bummed, I mean, it is what it is now. It's nowhere near One Piece was to go on hiatus for 1,000 days.
Oh yeah, that would kill you.
That would kill me, because I've been way more invested in that. I've been more invested in that longer than Hunter x Hunter. But Hunter x Hunter's been out about as long, so it's crazy to think that.
Yeah, it really is. And one thing that you said that really does reign true is that a lot of times, unless you're a die-hard Hunter x Hunter fan, you forget the shit's ongoing. I forget all the time until I see some manga sales up lifetime update for current Shonen Jump series, and I see Hunter x Hunter there at number 2, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It's technically ongoing. I forgot.
For lifetime sales of Shonen Jump, I think it's One Piece at 1 and Hunter x Hunter at 2. I know because we're doing top 5 in Japan right now, and I just randomly looked up like what's top in America right now, and Hunter x Hunter Volume 1 is right there on top, right behind Chainsaw Man. So
yeah,
it's still very popular around the world. So
yeah, it is, which is, it's wild and not wild to think about. It's wild just because of how much like us is doing this show, and we've become more manga readers, knowing just how long it's been gone out of this realm, but just still seeing its popularity really sings for how great the series is. You know, obviously, I'm not a fan of Hunter x Hunter. I've never gotten into it, but I do acknowledge its legendary status. I do acknowledge how great of a series that it is, and I would love to see it finished. You know, for that reasoning. I mean, it's a legendary series. Let's finish it. But at this point, man, it's just like, just either end it or just figure something else out, man. I don't know. It's just kind of knowing your limitations, you know. And
yeah.
I feel like we've reached a point where, you know, we'll probably never see it from him again, in my opinion. I do think there will come a point where he will finally throw in the towel. It's just a matter of when. And when I say throw in the towel, I mean in terms of like just him finally just realizing that, hey, I just can't, you know, stand and do this. I can't sit and do this, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where the fan base has pretty much accepted that it may never come back.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's always that glimmer of hope that, you know, one day we could just get surprised with, you know, just like an announcement of like, oh, hey, we've got like 300 new chapters to put out.
that would be some shit. That would be some shit, dude. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, this is something that you know, we don't get updates on very often, but whenever we do, we'll talk about it. But I mean, we'll see what happens. One update that we did get this past week is we got to see some live action photos from the Netflix Cowboy Bebop with a release date as well of November 19th. Josh, did you have any opinion on these photos? Did it look good to you? What was your general thoughts?
You know, it's funny you should mention that. So it actually does look really good. Like the characters are pretty much spot on, like in terms of like style and stuff. It's definitely not a Dragon Ball Evolution type thing where you're like, these are supposed to be the characters.
Listen, we don't talk about Dragon Ball Evolution, okay?
Yeah. So, and as far as like anime adaptations go, Cowboy Bebop is one that definitely is very doable.
That's what I said.
They got the looks down. I feel like, you know, it's something that could work. Now, it's funny you mentioned my thoughts, because as soon as I saw the first picture, I was like, it's weird that Ein got cast, but Ed didn't. Because Ed's, like, not a big character, but bigger, a more important character to the story than Ein is. So that was, I guess not. Now that I think about it. It's been a minute since I watched Cowboy Bebop. But yeah, it was just weird to me that they had put Ein the corgi in it, but not Ed, the hacker.
Shout out to the corgi, though. I saw a lot of comments online where people were talking about the characters, and they would highlight the corgi. It's just like, well, at least they got one character, right? A lot of people were not too happy with the characters, honestly, which they're never going to be. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Live action anime, anything, like it can be absolutely beautiful, right? Like let's say the One Piece coming from Netflix. Let's say it looks absolutely stunning. Live action anime is like in the same realm of Pokemon fans. You will never find people happy. It's that simple.
Yeah. Like there's always going to be that group of people that are just like, you ruined my childhood.
Yes.
Which is very fair, but at the same time, like as bad as most anime adaptations are, you got to give them a chance, because there's always that chance where it is actually going to be really good.
Right.
And you know, you'll broaden your horizons. You get something else to watch. Even if they completely like do a brand new story and don't follow the anime like scene for scene, you get more content.
Yeah. Because
a lot of the people involved in Cowboy Bebop are also involved in the anime or in the live action adaptation. So if it's a brand new story, that's more content for Cowboy Bebop. I see that as a win. I don't know, you know, if it's stated like how exactly it's going to go, kind of like, you know, with the One Piece, they're like, okay, well, the first season we're going to cover the East Blue. So like, you know, if they fuck that up, then you'll definitely know.
Right.
So, you know, I'm actually more excited for it now than I was when it was announced last year.
That's fair. Me personally, I want to check it out because of what you said of giving stuff a chance, you know, broadening your horizon and stuff. And I might. It's just I was never a Cowboy Bebop fan. That's just the
fair.
truth. I just wasn't. I still may give it a shot because I'm with you. I want to give these live action adaptations that are made here in the West. Let me specify that because the stuff over in Japan is like home run after home run. All right. The Ronio Kenshin movies, fantastic. The Death Note movies, fantastic. The Tokyo Avengers movie, I cannot express how much I want to watch that damn movie. Like, that all looks dope. All right. It's just the stuff that's made over here. All right. Is where it gets a little sketch. But I'm with you. It's like, let's give it a shot. Let's keep it moving because sooner or later, we're going to hit the home run, okay? We are.
Yeah.
Sooner or later. Because I relate it somewhat similar to comic book movies. I say somewhat because obviously there was some really good, successful movies prior to the MCU. I personally, Spider-Man 1 and 2, fantastic. Spider-Man 3, so. The X-Men movies, the first 3 are okay, you know. The X-Men movies as a whole are just kind of mediocre, minus a couple.
Yeah.
Right. You know, the Blade movies, they're all right, but like, you know, the Hulk movie, the 2003 one, that movie sucked. You know, and then Iron Man came, and it kicked off what we've had, and now, you know, every movie after movie is a banger. Right. Sooner or later, we will get the Iron Man of anime movies where it will be like, okay, this is it. This is a good live action movie or series. It'll happen eventually. Just a matter of when.
And Cowboy Bebop could be it. Like I said, I mean, as far as adapting goes, it's very easy. There's no reason to be like, you know, this couldn't have been, you know, a live action TV show to begin with, like Firefly.
Right.
So it's something I feel more comfortable with, like, being excited for than I am for, let's say, the live action One Piece or even the live action My Hero Academia movie that's coming, apparently.
Yeah, true.
I have literally, you know, no hope for for those, and they could surprise me too. But as far as we're going now, Cowboy Bebop is the most exciting live action adaptation that we've had in a while.
Yeah, and I agree with you. That was kind of my take on it the entire time, is that I just think because of what Cowboy Bebop is, it does feel like it's easier to do. Now, I'm also low-key excited for the Yu Yu Hakusho live-action series being made by Netflix. That's one that I am excited for personally. We've gotten to see some images out there, whatever, and, you know, the images that we saw Yusuke, for example, and Yusuke looked like Yusuke. Plain out and simple. Can't say anything better than that. Hey, he looks like Yusuke. It looks legit. So that's one that I'm excited for, that I feel like could potentially be not as horrendous to do. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that's one that I'm looking forward to. I may check out Cowboy Bebop, you know, just give it a chance. Because I'm with you. I want to see live action succeed for these series, man. I really do. But it's the question, will they ever succeed? We'll get the Iron Man eventually. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when.
It's almost like one of the last forms of media, aside from video games, that, you know, really has its shining moment yet.
True.
Like comic books got theirs, books have theirs. You know, you could make an argument for video games, I guess, if you really wanted to, because I guess some of them aren't bad. I enjoyed Detective Pikachu. Two murder movies, I remember.
Except for I thought the ending, the whole plot for the ending was whack.
Oh yeah, it was trash. But still, I mean, it was good for what it was.
At least everything looked good. Let's talk about that. Everything looked incredible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you know, anime is one of those last ones. And it's funny that you're like, you know, excited for Yu Yu Hakusho, considering you just said that the Japanese versions are always way better. And Yu Yu Hakusho is mainly going to be a Japanese, like, produced and cast, whereas Cowboy Bebop was more Western.
Well, that explains my excitement then.
Yeah.
Well, still talking about Netflix here. We did get a little piece of news this week that they are going to be making an animated series for Lore Olympus. If you do not know what Lore Olympus is one of the biggest webtoons on the face of this planet. It is one of the biggest series out there. It's consistently at the top in rankings and who's reading. It is a romance series, and it is just always considered one of the GOATs. So for it to finally get its time to get an animated series on the way, It's cool to see. I'm looking forward to seeing what other webtoons is going to be the next ones to get, brought up to the plate for an anime. We've seen a lot more webtoons get live adaptations, like let's say Sweet Home for Netflix. We've seen the 3 from Crunchyroll with Tower of God, God of High School, and Noblesse. Now we're seeing Lore Olympus, and we know that a Soul Leveling, live action of something is happening, which still pisses me off. I want that to be known. Soul Leveling deserves an anime first. But I am curious of what could be next for webtoon series. Could we see Weak Hero? Could we see El Cid? Could we see some of these other really popular romance webtoons out there, like Down to Earth, Let's Play, Mage and Demon Queen, and more? So it will be definitely interesting to see what comes out of webtoons. Webtoon it's getting its foot in the door, and I gotta say, I love to see it because, man, I'll be honest, out of everything that I read every single week, right now, My Hero is at the top for my most excited. But once you include webtoons, man, I gotta say, webtoons are like probably taking up the remainder of my top 5 right now. I'm having a great time with webtoons. They're fantastic. I love these stories, dude. So shout out to Lore Olympus getting an animated series coming from Netflix. Hopefully it doesn't eat ass. We do have a release date for My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission here in the West. It will be coming out October 29th. We here at AniMan Plus are currently planning to go see the movie, and we'll be giving our full thoughts on that, just like we did the Demon Slayer movie. So make sure to check out for that. And also, if you want to go see the movie, make sure to watch for tickets. It should be going on sale at some point in the future. Red Hood, a new series for Shonen Jump series that us 3 really like. We've raved about it. I've seen other, anime manga YouTubers raving about it. A chapter 1, like, hey, yo, check this out. So it seems like, hey, we got one. We got a hit, right? That's what it seems like. But it's getting a 23-page increase in Chapter 8. Now, that could mean absolutely nothing, because I do want to point out that for this upcoming issue that Chapter 8 is going to be in, it is actually pretty high up on the lineup, which, as we know, the lineup is very important. So this 23-page increase could be nothing, but what it could be as well could be a setup for getting axed, because that's something that we've seen a lot before.
Yeah.
We've seen it with Ball Parade. We've seen it with Phantom Seer. Any series that's leading up for an axe, they'll give it page increases to try to wrap up the story in some capacity, and that could be what this is here. That could be what this is here, is that it could just be like, hey, you're not being received super well, so let's start speeding up for you to get wrapped up here in the next 5 to 6 weeks. I really hope that's not the case. Red Hood, I think, has a lot of potential. I think the art's fantastic. I'm loving what we're seeing out of the characters. I would hate if this got axed. Out of everything that's gotten axed, the one that I'm most salty about is still Phantom Seer, but this is going to be a close second in terms of salt.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oof, that's because it's higher than Jujutsu Kaisen, which is notable that high school family are, I think 5 and 6 and Jujutsu Kaisen 7.
Yep.
So that's, that's notable, but the page increase is kind of alarming just because, while every now and then, yes, chapters get page increases. Like, I think Build King got one, it got axed. I think Gravity Boys got one, it got axed. Phantom Seer, Ball Parade, Candy Flurry got one, and we all know that it's kind of on the chopping block, so it is kind of scary. I think the good news for that is, though, now that Chapter 7 is, I believe that was the last chapter, Chapter 7's out.
Yep.
That's Volume 1 right there. So
True.
We'll be seeing a Volume 1 soon, and I think if they give it another, let's say 7 chapters, maybe by then Volume 1 will be out or coming out, and we can start seeing, kind of what the sales on it are going to be, and maybe the sales, can save it. I mean, obviously it didn't save Phantom Seer, but I personally think Red Hood's a really, really good, and we're getting somewhere good now that, kind of the introduction arc's over.
Yeah.
And I saw someone on Twitter say this. It almost seems like Shonen Jump is hit hunting, and they're just giving everything enough of a chance to see if it's going to be a big hit or not, and then behind the scenes acting it before, it kind of gets its time to shine.
with the exception of Elusive Samurai.
Yeah, those are Samurai. They have pretty much made it known that is their next hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, by them delaying the first volume for as long as they did because of the slow start of the series really sings a lot. Plus, it's also because it's a veteran author, you know?
Yeah.
It's a veteran author who had a very successful series with Shonen Jump, you know, but in terms of, like, looking for the next hit, you know, obviously Blue Box is set up to be a next hit. And you're right, they are hit hunting. And, you know, one thing I got to say about this, I want to stress, this could mean absolutely nothing. It just couldn't. But it's just based on us, you know, here at this show, at least being very, I guess, in tune with everything going on in the manga industry and us seeing this stuff happen. That's where we just want to bring it to your attention that how this is kind of alarming, but it could be nothing. But you know, it'd be some shit, Josh. What would be some shit is if Red Hood does get axed because, like, let's say the sales just eat ass, but then Niru just pops the fuck off. That would be some shit to happen to us because me and you both are just very critical of this series.
Yeah, and what's funny, like, you know, like you said, we're in no way experts, but we've been doing AniMan for well over a year now.
Yep.
Or AniMan, well, yeah, starting with the original AniMan, and we
don't talk about that.
We've gone through
the Dragon Ball
series,
evolution of this show.
It is, but we've gone through plenty. But what it's taught us is we've gone through plenty of series that we thought were going to be, you know, the next big thing, and then, you know, they get axed.
Yep.
And then something else, High School Family, goes on forever. So
maybe we're not very good at this.
Maybe we're not. We do have some hits, though. We do have some hits.
Fair,
so,
we do.
You know, it's one of the things where, like, it could be nothing, but from our experience, it's telling us, like, this isn't looking too great.
It's just a red flag is the best way to put it. Yeah. It's just a red flag. I mean, I hope it doesn't get axed, but I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see. All right. So the next piece of news that we got here is let's talk about some awards. So Josh, how would you pronounce this again?
Let me pull it up.
Sugi no Kuru? Does that sound right? Sugi no Kuru?
Sugi no Kuru.
Close enough, right?
Yeah, Sugi no Kuru.
Close enough.
Sugi no Kuru, something like that. Yeah.
We'll call it that. Close enough. Anyway, the Sugi no Kuru manga awards, we had physical and digital category. Let's run through some of the winners and nominees here. Some notable ones, of course, that you may know. So the winner for the physical category is actually called Osho no Ki. It's in a weekly shonen. It's Weekly Young Jump, actually. I've never heard of this series, but apparently it's popping off. Good for them. But here's some notables that you may know that was in the running, was nominated and got ranked. Coming at number 5, Shangri-La Frontier. Number 6, Elusive Samurai. Number 7, Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible. Number 8, Blue Box. Number 9, Sakamoto Days. Number 12, Witch Watch. Okay. Number 13, Me and Roboco. And number 15, Mogi-chan. So shout out to all of them. Shout out to the winner. Shout out to Witch Watch being at 12. Okay. All right. Respect. I wouldn't have guessed that. Once upon a time, I would not have guessed that, but I guess that further shows that we are definitely not the experts. But, you know, anyway, but the digital category, though, that's where we got you. Digital category, the winner was Kaiju number 8. And coming in at second place is Dandadan. No surprise to see Kaiju number 8 coming in first for the digital category. Kaiju number 8 has been popping off over the past year, and it's going to continue to pop off. And that's how Dandadan has been recently. Is Dandadan has completely just popped off and blown up all over the place, especially since it has now been added to Manga Plus for English readers like ourselves. So let's talk about it. Let's just jump over there. Let's talk about Dandadan. Josh, what's your thoughts on this series? The series is a giant meme, and I'm here for it, and I love it.
Same. First off, I want to say, though, Kaiju number 8 is one of the ones we got right.
That is correct. So. We've been on the Kaiju number 8 train since, like, day one.
Yeah. Moving on to Dandadan, it is... I personally really enjoy it, and I see why it's getting so much love, you know, in Japan. It's one of those, it's like, it's wild, it's out there, you know.
That's true.
You know, it's kind of got, like, the humor style of, like, you know, a lot of 90s stuff, like Shin-chan.
Right.
Or early 2000s. And the art's amazing. Like, it's not really that cartoony art you expect. It's more like, you know, trying to be realistic. But like, it's definitely good. It's one of the few things, like, they released all 21 chapters Monday, and by the time I was home Monday, I had finished all 21 chapters. Like I hated putting it down to go back to work. It was that good.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. It is really wild and it is really out there, but it is such a fun read, man. There were so many moments like where I was just busting my ass laughing to the same level of that I get with Mashal, you know, because I laugh my ass off at Mashal a lot. And it's the same thing with this series, man. It is just completely wild and out there of our protag, you know, being raised by her grandmother, who is like a spiritual medium, and she doesn't believe in ghosts and spirits, whatever. But meanwhile, she meets this kid who
she believes in ghosts and spirits. It's UFOs. She doesn't believe.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's that she believes in it, but the thought always crossed her mind that she thought her grandma was full of shit, is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to, is that the thought always crossed her mind that she thought her grandma was full of shit, whatever. Then she meets this kid who's like fully believing in aliens and UFOs, and she's like, nah, that shit ain't real. And he's like, well, spirits is not real. So they go with a bet with each other, where he goes to like a haunted place, she goes to a place where aliens are commonly there. And then we get one of the best lines I've ever read in a manga, because of how much it just absolutely murdered me. It caught me off guard to levels that I cannot even begin to express. It just was complete left field. And by no means would I ever anticipated this to come. Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
I'll let you suckle my teats if you let me gobble your schlong.
I know.
Oh my God, when that happened, I lost it. Oh my God, that was incredible. So our male protag here, man, he goes into this, the haunted tunnel, whatever, and he encounters like this, this ghost of an old lady who's named Turbo Granny, which love that simple, stupid name, by the way. Love it.
It's so good.
Yeah, and she just turns around and looks at this dude dead on. She's like, I'll let you suckle my teats if you let me gobble your schlong. And he's just like, a ghost, and he's like tries running away. Oh my God, I was in tears. I was in literal tears.
Same here. Like, just reading through it, I was laughing my ass off. And then when she encounters the aliens, and they start talking about like how they're abducting her because she's a female, and
yeah.
They're all cloned and stuff, and they're only doing it because they need banana organs. I was like, that's the fucking funniest thing I've ever read. And then he just like whips out this like mechanical dick, and I was like, God damn, I love this.
Oh man, it really is a fun read. Like it's very out there, as you can tell from us talking about it. Like Josh said, it is so far out there in what the series is trying to do, but it's like nonstop comedy, and like it's nonstop comedy, and like the characters, like the dynamic between our two characters is honestly, like, for it being only 21 chapters in so far, dude, it's such a fun little read to watch these two get closer, where it's like it's like there's like that possible romantic vibe there, right? Where they really want to talk to each other. They start to become really close. Like in such a quick, short time, watching the development between these two is super cool, and it doesn't feel horribly rushed, in my opinion. Because that's one area that manga, it's tougher for manga than, let's say, like a romance webtoon. A romance webtoon can take 50,000 years for two characters to really get close and do their thing, right? For manga, it needs to be a little bit more sped up, and that's understandable because of the nature and the market that manga is. But if for 21 chapters, for the kind of the bond that's being developed between these two, it doesn't feel rushed. It feels very natural, and it feels very smooth, and it's a really fun dynamic to read between these two.
And their chemistry is just like, it's great, because like that's half the comedy is like their banter with each other.
Yeah, true.
And it's so good, like, and it's a lot of manga try to do stuff like that, and it really doesn't work. And to build a series around just the banter alone is just really great.
Also, shout out to the grandma.
Shout out to the grandma. I was just about to get to that. Like, her introduction, I kind of want to talk about it because it was actually really funny reading it because I didn't see the end coming, where she's just like telling this dude's fortune. She's like, "You're 25 or 27." He's like, "Nope, I'm 20." It's like, you have a child. He's like, "Nope, don't have any kids, never married." She's like, "You like ramen?" He's like, "Nope, I love curry." And then at the end, he's just like, it comes to light that this actor is actually 27 years old and has a secret love child. And she's like, "Now just admit that you like ramen over curry."
Yeah. I loved that introduction, man. That was absolutely incredible.
I didn't see it circling back because the entire chapter I thought she was just like a gigantic fraud. And then when that hit, I was just like, so good.
Yes. And dude, she is a savage, man. She's a savage. Like it's fantastic seeing her just kind of like go off on people and just be, just really up front about stuff. Cause so when it comes to this Turbo Granny plot, right? When our protag runs away, whatever, he does get his schlong stolen. So he currently does not have a penis for X amount of chapters, and they're trying to get his penis back. Well, they managed to get his penis back. And he thought all was fine, all was well, whatever, went on with his life. Then he realizes he has no balls. So then when he comes back to him, he points it out to him, and the granny's is like, "This is why I wanted you to show me your dick, because I wanted to make sure if you got your balls back, but you didn't show me." And then he was just like, "Well, when my rod came back, I just didn't think anything of it." And she's like, "Rod my ass, more like a pencil, you little twerp." And I'm like, God damn, this woman's a savage.
I guess we should explain the story more too. So yes, when he runs away from Turbo Granny, she ends up stealing his schlong and putting a curse on him, and basically the curse turns him into Turbo Granny, and he's able to control it with I forgot her name. I know he's called the Colt Coon. Yeah, Momo. She realizes she actually has psychic powers, and she's able to control his curse just a little bit so he can take on, this kind of cursed form. But God, it just made me think about when they're fighting the acrobatic Silky, and she's just like, "Go beat her up like you normally do." And he's like, "I haven't beat anyone up. I bit somebody and I ran. That's all I've done so far."
Right.
It's really funny to me because he's like making him out to like be this badass. But anyway, yeah, his curse lets him, take the power from the Turbo Granny and, become more or less this cursed superhuman. He's, super fast, but he just gets really bummed out.
Yeah, he does. He just gets brutally depressed.
He's like, "I don't want to do this anymore. I'd rather just go die."
Oh man, this series is. It's a treat. It really is. Like, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, I definitely recommend downloading the Manga Plus app and giving this series a read, because this is, I see why it's popping off, as Josh said. I get it because of how far out there it is, and the comedy is just pure gold. In 21 chapters, the amount of times that I've had to just like put my phone down and I'm just like covering my face, almost crying of laughter. Is an obsessive amount for 21 chapters. Like, this is so stupid, dude, but I love it. Love it. This is one of my favorite reads right now, by far.
Yeah, it's like that mix of like, shonen action, like supernatural romance and comedy.
Yes.
It's basically got everything.
It has everything you could possibly want and more.
Yeah.
Talking about teats and schlongs.
Yeah, exactly. In that last chapter when they're like, "Why are you guys coming after me?" He's like, "Because you have a very well endowed banana organ." Because that's where his power comes from. It killed me. Yeah, if you want to read it, I highly suggest Manga Plus because it's completely free. Every chapter is on there. If you read it on Viz or the Shonen Jump app, you actually have to log in online. It's web only.
Yep.
Because it is obviously a more mature manga.
True. Bingo. All right. Well, how about we top over to our anime talks for the week? I really wish I would have remembered Zach wouldn't be here. I really do, because I would have loved to actually sit down and watch Dragon Quest with no context. You know, at least when I watched a couple episodes of One Piece when you weren't going to be here like a month or two ago, I had context. I read it, of course. But
Yeah.
I really wish I would have watched Dragon Quest because I would have loved to just go in there blind and explain it very blindly. It's like, well, I don't know what this guy's doing, but this is happening. But anyway, missed opportunity. I'm a great host of this show. I'm great at remembering. You guys know this. So let's first talk about My Hero, I guess. My Hero Academia.
All right. Yeah. Talk about it.
We're finally here. Oh boy, we're finally at My Villain Academia. But gosh damn, it feels like it has no heart. It feels like it got shafted. We know it got shafted in terms of just episode count. But like just watching this episode, it really did just feel like almost empty in a way.
Yeah, it just, like you said, we all knew it was going to get shafted. They completely fudged it all up. And what's even worse is to make it so where the anime fell more in line with World Hero Mission. They gave away a lot of stuff, and I've said it before. We know the payoff for this now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't know after this episode what the payoff is, like you obviously haven't been watching it or paying attention because it's clearly there. You know the result. So there's even the episode started out with one of the payoffs for this arc.
Yeah.
So
which I thought was wild.
Yeah. Just starting it out like, hey, this is going to happen. Like, so you're right. So it felt like it didn't have any heart. It felt like it was just kind of, it's there because it is in the manga. It's canon. And like, I don't know how many episodes are left in this season. I know it's
5, maybe 5.
So we have 5 episodes to kind of blow through a lot of stuff, but at the rate they're going with it, like, I mean, I could see them doing it in 5 episodes. Some of the things that miss from the manga is like finding out that the League of Villains is basically living on the lam and they're dirt poor. So like there was a line where Shigaraki said, told the doctor he's like thankful for his financial backing, when really there's no context for that because you don't know that they're poor, that they need financial backing.
Also, there is 5 more episodes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm curious how the next 5 episodes are going to go. But yeah, at this point, if I didn't know what was coming next in My Hero Academia, I probably would have, and I was only watching anime, I would have dropped it, to be honest, to be so real about it.
And
I don't want to like
No, go ahead.
I know. I was just going to say, I don't want to like trample anybody's feelings or anything because I know a lot of people like My Hero. I know it's the most popular anime probably in the world right now, at least in America.
True.
But yeah, if I was just an anime only viewer, I can't see me getting through the rest of the season.
That's fair. Coming into this season, we knew it was going to be like the worst season of the anime, but we didn't think it was going to be bad per se. And I don't think it's been bad. Let me stress that. I really don't. But it's definitely been. It's not bad, but it's worse than what I was expecting. But it's not that I was expecting things to be poor. Obviously, I went in with the expectations. Okay, this will be a fun season. You'll have a couple really cool moments. Animation will obviously look great as always. But next season's gonna be super cool. I knew it's like, all right, well, based on what we've had in the past and this, yeah, it'll be the weakest, but it'll still be fun. But even with those expectations, it still disappoints. Like I just feel like the season's been very mediocre. What was supposed to be the climax, the top of the top, really just got shafted. And it's like you said, it was because of the movie. That's what it came down to, was them wanting to line up the Endeavor arc with the movie. And it's unfortunate, and I just hope that nothing goes wrong with the next season. That's one thing. Like, I know this was a one-off, man. We up to this point, we have not had a bad My Hero Academia season. We have not had anything bad in My Hero Academia anime up to this point. Regardless of your feelings on a couple of like more minor arcs, like the festival arc and stuff like that, minus like little tidbits like that, we have not had anything bad in the anime. You know, and as manga readers, like I said, we knew coming into this season, these three, you know, at least two of these arcs are going to be a little lackluster. And I just, even though that is the case, I can't help but have a small smidge and a little bit of fear that, okay, well, what if the next season somehow gets fucked? Like it gets super rushed or something. Like maybe they try to fit in what's coming plus some stuff that's coming after what we just finished up. Like what if they try to squeeze all that into one season? It's just like, please don't rush the next season. Next season's going to be the best season of My Hero Academia so far. Please don't rush it.
Yeah. And like, I think a lot of stuff too that didn't help is they extended things that probably they didn't need to extend. They added filler episodes, which, you know, it's not really necessary because at the point there are in the anime, they had a lot to go with the manga. So there was really no point for like the Selkie episode. It was just filler to have filler to, you know, make Endeavor last a little bit longer to reach the release date of the movie is what it feels like. And, you know, for anime only viewers that are wondering why we're complaining, it's because the way this should have gone was it should have been, you know, the Class 1A versus Class 1B. Then it would have been, if I'm not mistaken, then it would have been My Villain Academia.
Yep.
And then the Endeavor agency arc and President Mike and Eraserhead very last. That last is how it should have gone. And because, you know, the My Villain Academia, it set up a lot of stuff that happened afterwards.
Yeah.
So, like, at this point in the anime, like, you know, Hawks shouldn't be where Hawks is now. Or you should know about a lot of the stuff Hawks has revealed, I guess, without me going too much into it. Because that was the payoff for the villain arc. That was one of them.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that's a spoiler anymore because it's not, because we know.
Yeah.
So a lot of my feelings on it.
And I'm pretty much in the same boat. I mean, it is what it is at this point. You know, I'm still going to personally finish the season out, see how it ends. Hopefully these next couple episodes are dope. Like I said, we got 5 more, and I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. But just hopefully next season won't get shafted in some form, because next season, anime only fans, you guys are not ready for what's coming. The next season is absolutely insane.
It's wild.
It is. Next up, let's talk about One Piece 988. What do we got going on over there, Josh?
Well, you know, this actually wasn't like super fluffy like it normally is.
Okay.
One Piece lately has been super fluffy. Stuff is extended that doesn't need to be extended. Yeah, this one did have some fluff, but more or less it was, you know, the introduction of Marco the Phoenix into Wano, because we know previously that Cat Viper had gone to try to recruit the rest of the Whitebeard pirates to help out in the raid. And so, you know, we get the introduction to Marco through the Big Mom pirates climbing the waterfall to get into Wano for the second time, because the first time King had knocked him down. And this time they're going up and they think it's King again, and it's a silhouette of Marco. And then he just knocks him back down again. And then we also get, a shot in the submarine with Law and the Scabbards, where Cat Viper tells them that he's on his way, and they're like, but, it's happening right now. You're not going to make it. He's like, I'll make it. I'll be there, and just hangs up on him. Which is really funny. Yeah, the rest of the episode is actually, the one good thing I can say about a lot of this fluff is I really enjoy Luffy Zoro content, because they're both idiots.
True.
It really makes me happy. So there's a point in this episode where, Kid and Killer, Zoro and Luffy are running to find Kaido, and Luffy's telling Kid to quit fighting Apu because, they're there for Kaido. Like, don't focus on him. Focus on this.
Right.
It's like you guys are just gonna go the wrong way and get lost and stuff. And then it shows Luffy and Zoro just standing in front of the wall. It's like, we took a wrong turn, didn't we? It's like, guess we got to go around because we can't just bust through this wall. And Zoro's like, but if I can cut through this wall quietly, nobody will ever know. And just like pulls out Emma and does this like huge slash and knocks the wall down. On the other side, it's just nothing but a bunch of beast pirates. It was actually kind of funny.
I did see that as a meme, and I got a good laugh out of it.
Yeah, it was really good. Another part of this episode was Kanjuro finally making his way to I forgot his name, Orochi. Making his way to Orochi with Momosuke. So that's kind of where the episode leaves off. And basically everything else was fluff. It was like Luffy practicing his new like form of Hake and stuff like that. So, I hope as we get more into the raid, a lot of this filler is going to be more actual content that we didn't see in the manga than it has been. But I'm just thankful it wasn't a Tama flashback for the first time in like 16 episodes.
Right on. Well, next up, we got a good old Dragon Quest episode 46 that Zach would cover. Can only assume that Pop was a bitch. Hyunkul probably did something really cool. Dai probably did something that doesn't make sense in terms of the reading. Mam was probably annoying in some capacity. And the rapper guy, I think his name is Flazar, may have done something too. So that's your recap of Dragon Quest episode 46, maybe. I don't know.
Probably a wacky villain.
There was probably a wacky villain as well. And probably, of course, no new intro song. All right, so next up, I'll talk about Tokyo Avengers episode 20. Still continuing the bloody Halloween fight, of course. This was the episode, I believe, or Josh, correct me if I'm wrong if it was 19. I believe this is the episode where Kisaki saves Mikey. Was that in 19? Because I know you didn't watch 20. Do you remember that in 19, or was that this episode then?
It would have been 20, yeah.
Okay, yep. So Kisaki comes in, saves Mikey from Kazutoro and that gang up there, and then Kisaki's just like, yo, my division will handle this. Takemichi's, of course, like, no, this is not what we want at all. But then Draken's like, yo, dude, good job. You got Mikey. And Takemichi's like, please, guys, no, this is not good. Baji steps in, gets a good whack on Kisaki. Fuck Kisaki, that asshat. Baji kind of
worst character ever.
Yeah, it sings a lot to the character of how well he's written, for sure. Baji ends up getting knocked back. Takemichi's trying to stop Baji as well as Chifuya, because ultimately, Takemichi knows the future, that Baji is supposed to die, so he's trying to prevent that from happening. And then we get a shot of where Kazutoro stabs Baji in the back, Takemichi kind of like tackles Kazutoro out of the way, and Baji plays it off like nothing's wrong. He's like, just a scratch, no big deal. Thanks for saving me, whatever. Then he does drop the little comment where it's like, take care of Mikey for me, indicating that, he still gives a shit about, Toman. He still gives a shit about Mikey. He really just does want to bring down Kisaki, as he said whenever he was going to, smack him in the face with a pipe. I've been waiting for this moment. And then Baji just goes on a rampage, just beating the shit out of everyone. Gets up to Kisaki, about to lay the final blow. Then he just spits up blood and drops to his knees. He's like, guess this is it. Yeah, it's because he did get fatally stabbed, unfortunately. And that was the closing of the episode, was where he got fatally stabbed. So next episode is going to be a really hype one for sure, with just how exactly Mikey's going to react, Takemichi's going to react, and things along those lines. So next episode is going to be really fire. But I mean, it was overall a really good episode, because it was just a lot of focus on Baji because of what was to come. Mikey was kind of out of the picture, of course, in this episode for the most part. Then we did get the kind of focus on Kisaki, where it's just like, is Kisaki a nice guy? Is he a good guy? Even in this episode, you can tell he's not, because even in this episode, you see him have a phone out, and it shows that he was calling Hanma, who, of course, is with Valhalla. So, I mean, even in this episode, it still indicates that, while he's protecting Mikey, he still has, other motives. You know what I mean? But it was a good episode for sure. And just like My Hero Academia, we only have 5 episodes left of Tokyo Revengers. So I'm still very curious where this season's going to end. You know, as all 3 of us now on this show are reading the manga, I'm very curious where this is going to end. I see 2 potential points where it's going to end for this season with 5 episodes left. And I don't know why, but I'm honestly kind of leaning towards it's going to end when he comes back to the past. Like I think he's going to go back to the future and then come back to the past. I think that's where it's going to end. I really do. I think it's going to end with the handshake that sends him back in time again. I think that's where it's going to potentially end, is around that range. Especially considering when he comes back, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, literally the moment he comes back from that, he's in the middle of bowling, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes. I think so. I think it's going to end like right as he's coming back, and maybe next season kicks off with him getting a strike.
I have an idea of when it's going to end. It's not far off from yours, but I'm not going to say it on.
Fair. So, I mean, it will be interesting to see where it comes to a close. You know, 5 episodes there, 5 episodes of My Hero Academia. Only 1 episode left of To Your Eternity. Let's talk about episode 19. And we only got 1 episode left. Episode 20 is all that's left for this very emotional roller coaster of a damn series that we have. So this was one of Fushi's most savage moments, in my opinion, where he just leaves that bitch out in the middle of the ocean and says, yo, I don't know where I went. I just rode out here. If you want to live, good luck. Spawns a boat. Bye. And just leaves her tied up in the middle of nowhere.
You forgot the most important thing for Fushi's character. He's just like, I hate you.
Yes. I hate you. Go away.
Yeah.
But no,
it was a good episode.
Yeah, it was. This episode, kind of coming to it officially wraps up the island arc is what it does. It wraps up, with all of the Nokers that they've been fighting against and everything. High Ace does come in, of course, and, almost kill Toneri, and Fushi saves the day. They managed to end up taking out all the Nokers, where the man in black comes up and says, there's only 3 left. And Fushi realizes it's the 3 kids. It's Toneri's friends. She attempts to try to make the kill, but he decides to try to do it instead. That's where Hiatus kind of comes in and she kind of fucks everything up. But the island arc coming to a close with the remaining 2 kids left, Toneri and the little boy, I can't remember his name, deciding to stay on the island. And as she put it, if there's any sort of dirty water, she wants to try to clean it, is essentially what she put it. Try to rebuild the island, basically, and rebuild what the island could be for people. So it was a nice final wrap up to this arc, obviously with ending with Fushi's savage ass moment, one of my favorite savage moments in the series, just leaving this bitch tied up in the middle of the ocean with no island in sight. Like, see ya. Of course, in this episode, there was a couple tidbits that did transpire with Ice as well. One was kind of earlier on where she was initially attacked by a Noker and kind of started talking to it. It's like, oh, you want Fushi as well. It's like, well, you can't be aggressive with him. You need to be kind with him like I am. Fuck you, bitch. And, then she ends up just ripping it out like it's nothing.
But
the only character that's done
her,
that.
Though.
It does. Yeah, it does respond to her. Where it kind of like chills out for a moment and she ends up ripping it and throwing it out, whatever. And then at the end of the episode where she's left out in the middle of the ocean, you see that Noker, the little brain cell of it, whatever, that weird Majin Buu egg sac thing, crawl up into the boat, and you get like a far shot of the boat and you just hear her scream because she gets attacked by it. And that is a massive, that right there is a massive plot point for what is to come in future seasons of this series. So, got to see that. Next episode is just going to be a nice little wrap up, and it's going to be the conclusion of Pyren's arc. It's going to be her conclusion.
Yeah, I was about to say, when I watched that, I felt like there was going to be some major feels coming.
There's definitely going to be some major feels in the next episode for sure. Her arc does come to a close. I'll go ahead and say that. The preview very heavily indicated that, I feel like.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a lot of feels the next episode for sure. And this is about exactly where I thought it was going to end, personally. This makes the most perfect sense, especially just because of how this arc kind of went, and just also what the intro has teased, because we're finally going to get to see one character that's in the intro next episode. So that's why I thought that this, where we're ending is going to be like the perfect end spot, because this is a spoiler. I do apologize, but if I remember correctly, after this episode, going into the next season, I do believe there is going to be a time skip. I don't remember for sure, but I think there will be some sort of year time skip. I don't remember how many years or anything. So that's why this feels like the perfect place for this season to come to a close. Well, Josh, what about Tsukimichi? You only got 4 episodes left of Tsukimichi for this season. How's episode 8 faring for you?
Really? Only 4 episodes?
Yeah, it's a 12-episode season.
Didn't know that. To be honest with you, I watched both episodes. The episode I didn't watch last week, and then this episode this week. I can't remember which episode was. I don't remember if it was the one where Tomei trains the adventurer group from earlier to be the new lead adventurers, or if it's the one where they kind of have the match where they basically make all the different races and in the demi-plane like kind of train together. To be real with you, I'm so bad at this.
I'm so bad at this.
I am.
You got this, man. You got this. Zach believes in you.
Yeah, I hope he does, because I'm gonna butcher it. Like I said, I watched the episode last week and the episode this week back to back. I couldn't tell you which one was which, and I don't want to run the risk of just re-explaining the episode from last week.
I feel like this is a good sign for how much we rely on Zach on this show.
Yeah, we rely on Zach majorly.
Hey, he's got great memory, man.
He does have great memory. Like I don't think I have a bad memory about certain things, but then other things like I have a horrible memory on.
Like Law's backstory?
Like Law's backstory, yes.
Well, try your best. What all went down in Tsukimichi?
All right. Well, in Tsukimichi, okay, I remember it now.
Here we go.
The episode from last week is where they find out that where they save the merchant's family, and they beat up the number 1 adventurer in that town. So this episode would be the one where Tomei trains the group that we had met in the previous town to be the new adventurers, and basically makes them kill a bunch of like really strong monsters to prove themselves. At the same time, in the demi-plane, there's all the inhabitants of the demi-plane are kind of complaining about the training, where they're like, at least when we train with Tomei and Mio, they give us a chance. They let us at least hit them or something. So like, but the young master, he just starts immediately firing fire arrows as soon as it starts, and he just doesn't give us a chance. And if we somehow survive those, he just like all out assaults us. And so pretty much, I can't remember the main character's name at this point, because they just call him Young Master the entire time. It's just kind of like feeling super, super bad about it, because he doesn't give anyone a chance. So they end up having a sparring match between the orcs and the mist lizards, in which they pretty much don't declare a winner and just declare everyone being like super weak, because they don't train with each other, even though no one's told them to train with each other. They each have their own kind of like space in the plane. Look, there's something else I'm missing. He also tries to start his own shop with the merchants. A lot of stuff about espionage. I don't really remember. Pass. Okay. All right.
Well, you got the gist. You got the gist of what happened in Secret. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. About probably 30 seconds ago, I'm just kind of like, dude, I don't even know what he's trying to say right now.
Yeah. Jack is a crutch on that one. You know what's crazy though, is I can tell you what happened in the last 20 episodes of Reincarnated as a Slime, because I'm also watching that one. And I guess I'm more invested in that one than I am in Tsukimichi.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. We you know that Reincarnated as a Slime, that is a currently ongoing weekly series, right?
I believe so. I think it's based off a light novel.
Yeah, but like, is it like this season of anime, or are you just watching some old content?
Oh no! Like currently, season 2 is airing right now.
See, we probably should have added that to the script at some point. I know you mentioned it at one point, but it didn't process through my mind that it was currently ongoing. That's on me. So we should probably add that to the script at some point. Let you talk about that.
I mean, if you want to, we can. Like, I can talk about that over Tsukimichi right now. Like, it was a really good episode. It was the Beastketeers and Rimuru's army versus Flayman's army. I'm just kind of jumping in here since I'm going to assume everyone's watched Reincarnated as a Slime because it's really good.
Making a lot of assumptions here, bud.
No, I won't. We can move on.
Okay. Well, Eden Zero was on a break this week. No episode 20, so that does wrap up our anime talks. And I'll probably say
it is on Netflix now, though.
It is on Netflix now, so you can go watch Eden Zero. I will also say, we will probably add Slime to the lineup next week. That something that we could probably do there. So, Josh, what was your favorite episode of the week? I'm actually going to go To Your Eternity, episode 19.
You know what? I'm going to go To Your Eternity as well.
Right on, man. It was a good episode.
It was a good episode.
All right, let's hop into some manga chat here. Let's talk about some manga stuff. Well, as I've stated last week, just due to the recording schedule of this show being on Thursdays and the updates that we're getting for the current batches for the Weekly Shonen Jump series, the Weekly Shonen Magazine has yet to come out. I know the manga they just dropped on the 17th, so I would probably guess we're going to actually get to see some sales numbers probably on Friday, just like we're going to get the update for the Weekly Shonen Jump August volumes. So I'm going to record a little extra bit that I'm going to put in right here. Hello. It's time for manga sales. We got our updates, so let's plug them. All right, so we do have the first week for all of our Weekly Shonen Magazine volumes. This is ranging from the 16th to the 22nd. And I do want to say that going forward, we're going to go ahead and start tracking everything with Weekly Shonen Magazine. Up till now, we've only been tracking like the really popular ones, the ones that are popular in general, have animes already, or just like getting popular here in the West, like a Shangri-La Frontier, for example. But just because I want to bring more awareness to Weekly Shonen Magazine, I want to go ahead and start tracking everything, because the thing is that, for the series that we don't track, they're just series that while they're super popular over in Japan, you don't really hear about them here in the West, but they do well in sales every single month, right? And I just feel like the more eyes that we get on Weekly Shonen Magazine, the better, because maybe the more people around the world that get more involved with Weekly Shonen Magazine, the more likely we could potentially get like an official release from Weekly Shonen Magazine, like digitally, like the Shonen Jump app, Viz Media app, Manga Plus app, etc., which would be super cool, because as of now, like there's only a few series from Weekly Shonen Magazine that you can actually read officially, like Eden Zero, To Your Eternity, Seven Deadly Sins, Four Nights of the Apocalypse, and Shangri-La Frontier being four off the top of my head. I know like Tokyo Avengers doesn't have an official release, for example. You have to do a fan translation or something. So I definitely would like to get more eyes on Weekly Shonen Magazine. Now, I do want to say, if you guys have listened to this show before, if this is your first time here, hey, what's up? My name's Alex Light. But if you guys have listened to the show before, you know how bad I am when it comes to pronouncing names. A lot of these don't have straightforward English translated names like Fire Force, Blue Lock, Seven Deadly Sins. So I apologize for anything that I'm about to butcher. Let's get into it. All right, Blue Lock, Volume 15, sold 95K copies sold in its first week. Ace the Diamond, Part 2, Volume 28, with 91K copies sold in its first week. Fire Force, Volume 30, with 85K copies sold in its first week. Here's a new series that we're going to start tracking here. Conjuro Okarish Masu. Probably butchered that, but let's keep it moving. Volume 22 with 74K copies sold, basically 75K. Shout out to that. Another new series we're going to be talking about here is Bakamano Gatari, Volume 14 with 54K copies sold, basically 55K. Shangri-La Frontier, Volume 5, with 51K copies sold. Conjuro, Mo Conjuro, Volume 7, with 45K copies sold. Runaway Duarte, with Volume 22, which this does look to be the finale for this series, is 34K copies sold, basically 35. Sitokai, Yoko no Domo, Volume 21, with 30K copies sold. To Your Eternity, Volume 16, with 19K copies sold. And lastly, for this month, we have Kurowa, Midaka Nai, Watashi no Kawaii ga Sujina. That's a very long title, and I apologize for everyone listening because I butchered that entire thing. That Volume 1 for that series with 18K copies sold. So 18K for Volume 1 is not terrible. We want to do a compare and contrast here. Look over at like some Weekly Shonen Jump volumes of Volume 1. If they're not selling 10K at least, then yeah, they're dead. But even 10K, it's like they're potentially dead, but it can kind of be up on the rise. 18K is not terrible, but it's definitely not like great. Now, I will say another thing that kind of shocking here to look at is the To Your Eternity Volume 16 with 19K copies sold. The anime is going on right now. We have one episode left, episode 20, coming out this upcoming Monday. And it's interesting to watch how Tokyo Avengers, an anime from this season, has just completely exploded and done really well with the manga sales because thanks to the anime. And then To Your Eternity is not getting the same boost, which I wouldn't expect To Your Eternity to get like the same massive boost, but I would expect to see a little bit more out of it because I think we've tracked one other To Your Eternity volumes in the past since we started tracking these, and it did about the same, just okay numbers. And I get it; it's because of the nature of the series of To Your Eternity. I mean, Tokyo Avengers is this fighter delinquent shonen series, more or less. Yeah, kind of. I mean, more or less. While To Your Eternity is very heavily reliant on the storytelling, so it's not necessarily for everyone, but I don't know, that is kind of just an interesting thing to note there. All right, so next up, we can talk about our weekly Shonen Jump volumes and where we're sitting at on that. This, of course, is for the month of August, and this is for the week 8/16 to 8/22. So first up, we have My Hero Academia with 597K copies sold. I don't feel like that's a big jump from last week. Last week was like 534, 544, around there, maybe 550. I don't know. I just don't feel like that's a big jump. Dr. Stone Volume 22 with 213K copies sold. An update here on Mashal Volume 7 is 132K copies sold. Elusive Samurai Volume 2 update that we got here is 81K. Ayakashi Triangle with the update of 63K copies sold. Blue Box, now with Blue Box Volume 1, we have had some out of stock issues, and there have been reprints on the way, and the reprints are still coming. So just kind of Blue Box fans, just kind of bear with it for the moment. We'll see this number continue to increase, and we'll hopefully see Volume 2 do exceptionally well because there will be more stock on hand. But the last update that we have for Blue Box is 43K when we were starting to run out, and now we have a 60K for Volume 1, which is still obviously that's very good. We as the Blue Box fans would like to see this increase even more. But like I said, out of stock issues, that we're working through it. So hopefully we'll continue to see this rise, and hopefully Volume 2 will be much better. And then Magu-chan, Candy Flurry, and Ball Parade are all unranked, of course. Candy Flurry, this was its Volume 1 at this point. With how the storytelling in this series is going, and with how this Volume 1 has sold, we can probably safely say Candy Flurry is axed. Is what it is. Is what it is, man. Candy Flurry is something that I thought had a lot of potential, and I stand by that statement. If you read Chapter 1, you're just like, okay, I can see us having a lot of potential here. And I don't know what happened. It just didn't resonate well with people, obviously, and I just feel like Chapter 2 and beyond just didn't really hit very well, bottom line. But overall pretty good sales across the board. A couple of downers, but it's good stuff. I mean, this is a good month of August for Weekly Shonen Jump for sure, and this batch that we are going to start tracking here in Weekly Shonen Magazine looks pretty solid as well. And then once again, I apologize for every name that I butchered for Weekly Shonen Magazine. It's my bad. All right, you guys listen. If you guys listen to the show, I'm terrible at pronouncing names. But anyway, all right, back to the show. All right, we're back. All right, so let's jump over from there and let's hit the top 5 in Japan right now. Let's see. This is dated for August 23rd. Coming at number 1 for the second week in a row, My Hero Academia Volume 31. Coming at number 2, Monthly Girls Nuzaki-kun 13 Special Edition, which I did see the regular 13 on the list as well, so I guess it makes sense the Special Edition's so high up there. All right, here we go. Let's see if I butcher this or not. All right, I was practicing earlier, but I still think I'm going to butcher it. All right, Chiya Hafuru. Josh, what would you rate that? You think I got it? Did I nail it?
Yeah. I give that a solid 7.
Let's go. I'll take a 7. That's passing, baby. Fucked it up now. Well, anyway, Volume 47 is number 3 in Japan right now. Tokyo Revengers Volume 11 and Tokyo Revengers Volume 12 is number 4 and 5. Tokyo Revengers is literally littered all across like the top 30 for this ranking. Like I just scroll through and check the other numbers. You just click. All right, let's look at 11 through 20. All right, Tokyo Revengers, Tokyo Revengers, Tokyo Revengers. Okay, Tokyo Revengers, Tokyo Revengers. Okay, got it. It gets throughout this whole ranking list, man. It's insane.
Yeah, like seeing sales stuff on Twitter, everyone's just like, it's insane how much Tokyo Revengers is selling since the anime.
Dude, true. And I will say that is a topic that I'm really excited to jump into at a later time, where we're going to be talking about just how much that has blown up for Tokyo Revengers in the sales, and us trying to predict what's going to be the next one to get that treatment. Really looking forward to having that conversation here in the future on AniMan Plus. So what do we got coming up for Weekly Shonen Jump for issue 39? Elusive Samurai will be on the cover. I did see someone say that the lead color pages are some of the best they've seen all year. I don't know. We'll see, because that Mission Yozakura family one was pretty hype. So we'll see. We do have color pages for Mission Yozakura family and Blue Box. Some notable things, of course, Candy Flurry is in dead last. Yeah, this is really on the chopping block at this point.
Yeah.
Ayakashi Triangle second to last. And like we mentioned earlier, Red Hood's coming in at number 6, which is above Jujutsu Kaisen. So that is some interesting stuff there. For the next issue number 40, we got One Piece on the cover, which makes sense because volume 100 is going to be dropping here very soon. So it makes sense that One Piece is getting the lead color page and cover page there. We also have a color page for Magi-chan, and I do believe we're getting another chapter for the Food Wars Sanji edition. I believe that.
Shogeki no Sanji. Yep. I'm super excited about that. I actually really enjoy those chapters. If you haven't checked them out, please do. They're actually really good.
Oh, well, that's good to know. I have yet to check them out, but that is going to be getting a color page in the next issue, so shout out to that. With that said, I guess we can jump over to our manga ratings for the week. We can go do that now. So let's kick things off. We'll do One Piece 1022.
I'm gonna give it a 9. It was good. It was a good ending.
Okay, yeah, the ending was really good. I'll probably give it an 8. I think I'm gonna give it an 8 for myself. What about My Hero Academia 323?
I'm gonna give it like a 6.
Oh, come on.
Ah, man, I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I'm in a My Hero funk. Like, I don't know. I haven't felt like these chapters are as good as you think they are.
You're disrespecting me, and you're disrespecting this series right now, because this content has been fire. I'm giving it an 8 though. I'm not gonna sit here and bang it out. I get the 9, whatever. And I have seen some breakdown for the next chapter, and it'll probably be in the same realm of an 8. We'll see when I finally read it. But yeah, 323, I'd give it an 8. You know, I gave it a 10. I gave a chapter a 10 like 2 weeks ago. That was a 10. Fuck you guys.
It was last week, wasn't it, that you gave it a 10? Anyway,
yeah.
I'm also going to sit here and say, and I won't be shy about it, I think a lot of it has to do with how there's a certain train moving along the track, and there's a station in sight, and Hirokoshi put that station in there and was like, the station is here, and just completely ignored it. And I guess that's another reason why I'm just not feeling it, because every time we get close to that station, it just gets moved away.
We'll get to the station, bud. We'll get there. We'll get there, man.
Story time. I'm going to tell a quick story.
Oh, okay.
I went to Chicago.
Okay.
I went to Chicago, and I took the train back home. And it was a long-ass train ride. And I sat by this lady who was on the train for about 45 minutes and ate an egg sandwich, and it smelled like death, and infected this train car for the next 12 hours for me. So this is basically what it's like. It's like, I have that destination. I know where I'm going. I know what I want it to be. And I'm on this train with some stinky ass egg sandwich for 12 hours.
No.
Because what I want isn't like, it's a true story too. Not a lie.
That's so unfortunate.
It's so bad.
So that's where you are right now with this train.
Yeah, basically. Like, I want it to be at the station already.
You're
And
just
every
like,
time it
"Let's
doesn't
do
get
it."
closer, every time it doesn't get closer, it's just another whiff of egg sandwich.
Oh my god. You're killing me though. You're killing me.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
All right. Let's hop over. Let's talk about Black Clover 303. How you feeling?
You know what? This chapter made this whole thing worth it. If they would have made this chapter the entire fight, I wouldn't have given Black Clover such low ratings for the past few weeks. Honestly, I'll give it an 8. It was really good, and this should have happened from the beginning of this fight.
Oh boy. All right. I'm very iffy on this chapter.
All right. Tell me why you're iffy.
Because I can't get it out of my damn head that we are in Endgame, it feels like.
We are very much an in-game in Black Clover. I'm not going to lie to you. That's the feel.
This whole arc is so rushed. This chapter was so rushed. Like, the contents of it, I want to give it an 8 with you. I do. But, like, just reading through this chapter, it was almost like a snap of the finger. And it was just like all of this information got dumped. And I would have loved to see this fight, go on for a couple chapters, right? Like, I can't get it out of my head how rushed Black Clover is feeling right now, which Black Clover has always been fast-paced. Always. Let me stress that.
But not this fast-paced.
But not this. This is like a whole different level of fast-paced. Like, I don't know. I want to give it an 8 with you, but I might drop it down to like a 6 because like I just can't get it out of my head just how almost lackluster it feels. Like, while we had like this great payoff, it feels like what we had to do to get there, it just kills me and it feels lackluster, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. I'm giving this chapter an 8 because I genuinely enjoyed the content, and I wish the content had been this whole fight instead of all the other stuff we got that also, yes, made it feel very rushed, like this is very in-game with everything leading up to this chapter.
Right.
And yeah, it would have been better if this fight currently had, gone on for another chapter, but it also would have been better if this had been the current matchup 10 chapters ago.
True.
So I'm giving it an 8 because I enjoyed the content. I agree with you though. Like, as far as it feeling rushed and stuff, it would be a 6.
I'm gonna roll with the 6. I'm gonna roll with the 6.
Rip Black Clover.
Yeah, rip Black Clover. Used to be so high, man, but here we are. What about Dr. Stone 207?
I'm going to tack my shit on it because I really enjoyed this chapter. It was very good content.
All I can picture. All right, let me go ahead here. Let me switch to his cam. All right, hey Zach, how's Dr. Stone 207? No.
Bullshit.
No.
Bullshit. Yeah. I enjoyed the content. I really did. Like, now knowing their backstory a little more, I definitely enjoyed it.
I definitely enjoyed the last few pages. That was my most enjoyment, and those last few pages was enough for me to go ahead and just kind of I'll roll with probably like a 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
I know that seems kind of like almost hypocritical because it's like while the last couple pages of this Black Clover chapter was like super good and could sway me to making an 8, it's just everything we've had up to that point is what made me give it a 6. But in this case, these last couple pages of Dr. Stone was enough for me to probably bump it up to an 8 because that was a nice little moment, man. It really was.
It was like I said, the backstory, the moment. It was all very nice, very good content, which we haven't had a lot of in Dr. Stone for a while.
True.
That kind of content.
That's true because it was balls to the walls there for months.
Yeah.
It was fire week after week after week after week, man. As I've said before, when Dr. Stone's on fire, it is on fire. But when it's not, it's not. That's my take on it. I know, Josh, you disagree and you enjoy it as a whole, but that's my take on Dr. Stone.
I do. I do enjoy Dr. Stone as a whole. I'm gonna roll with a 7 on it. It was really good content, but aside from that, other than that, I can't give it to you. Even though I just, like you said, hypocritically gave Black Clover an 8 for the same kind of like content.
Right. Yeah. The last couple pages was great for you. You got that context. You want to give an 8, but yeah, I feel you. What about JJK 154?
JJK went on hiatus. I'm still very much enjoying it after hiatus. So it being kind of lower in Shonen Jump scared me, but I mean, this chapter was really good. Not something that I can give like a 9 or a 10 like I would like to always give JJK. I think this more is a 7 for me.
More of a 7. I'll agree with the 7 on that one. Mission Years of Core Family, chapter 94. I'm giving this one a 9, dude. This chapter was fantastic. I loved this. Dude, this chapter was so good. It had it had so much backstory between Taya and Mitsumi, man. Like, it was awesome because it really put it in a different light of what you got to see out of Mitsumi and her growing up, where she couldn't have friends because of who she is. Her friends were pretty much only her siblings, except, but then she was able to become friends with, Taya, and, and just their relationship and how important it is for her. It was a great chapter, dude. And I'm pumped for the next one for sure. Cause now we got the eldest brother. It's time for his trial. Cause, we just finished up the eldest sister's trial. Now we're hopping over to, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the guy who's like obsessed with protecting Mitsumi. But dude, yeah, this was a 9, man. This was such a great chapter, seeing the dynamic between them, because it was one of those, like, it was a narration from the eldest sister of her thinking back on it. It's like what this guy means to Mitsumi in her life, because really, like I said, she wasn't able to have friends. She had to be protected. She had to stay indoors. She can't go out and be a normal kid. So it's just like, he was always there for her, bringing her school stuff, whatever, blah, 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 being there and supporting her. And then you get the flip of the script where she again, she can't leave and shit because of who she is. She breaks out one night because there was the car accident that, basically killed, our protag's family, and he's in the hospital when he was a little kid. And she was there for him. So, man, it was a nice bonding chapter for these two. Just taking a trip down memory lane, seeing what happened, man. I loved it. It was great.
Nice.
Next up, Undead Unluck, chapter 75. I would give this one, I think, a 7. I think, 7. I almost flirted with an 8, but I'll roll the 7. Mashal, chapter 74.
I'm going to give 2 really high scores on these manga ratings, and one of them is going to be Mashal because it was 10 out of 10 chapter.
Right on.
Dude.
The redemption arc for Mashal.
I know,
is amazing.
but it was so good when he's just like, I'm going to let the earth reclaim me. I was like,
I lost it, dude. I screenshot that, and now that's one of my memes. That is one of my memes now. I'm definitely giving it a 9, 100%. I'm gonna roll the 9 on this one. Sakuma Days, chapter 35. I'm gonna give it a 7. I think 7's good. Elusive Samurai, chapter 28. Probably an 8. I think 8's good. Of course, I'm not actually caught up on Witch Watch. I did finally pick it back up. I've only read a couple chapters, and sure enough, Zach's right. It did start to get good. So I'm just like, God damn it. Right when we take it off the script, right when I stop reading it, it starts to get good. So I can only imagine Zach's chapter 26 rating would be like an 8. That's just a guess to see if I get it right later on. Blue Box, chapter 17. Ooh, probably a 9. Another great chapter. Dude, these past couple chapters of Blue Box have been very, very emotional. To give context for people, so obviously, the main relationship focuses on just our two central star characters, of course. But then there's this other character who's a friend with the male protag. But these past 3 or 4 chapters have kind of hinted at the fact that she has feelings for him, but she knows very well his feelings for, this other character. And these past few chapters have been so just emotional gut punches, because it's just her basically trying to just shove those feelings down and saying, no, I need to handle this on my own. No, I can do this by myself. I don't, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I can do this. It's all good. And dude, it's an emotional gut punch, man. It really is. So, I'd give it a 9. I imagine Zach's rating is probably a 9 or 10 too, because everything that the last chapter did right, this one did it just as well. I mean, I would give this one a 9. It was great.
I can respect that.
Candy Flurry chapter 16, probably a 5. Candy Flurry, I had so much hope for this series. It seemed like such a dumb, unique concept, but gosh damn, did it drop. It dropped, man. I don't know. It
went downhill fast.
It did, dude. It's come some sour gumdrops. What about Red Hood chapter 7?
This one's tough. I'm flirting between I'm going to give it a 7. I was flirting between a 7 or an 8. 7 is definitely what I can land on for that. That end. It's always the ends that get you too.
Dude, it is. It's the ends that get you every time. I give it a 7 personally. Niru chapter 6, I'd probably give that one a 7 as well. Dandadan chapter 21.
All right, so I'm gonna give this a 200 out of 10 because we read 20 chapters and they're all 10 out of 10. And this is obviously the other high ranking, but I'm gonna give Dandadan 10 out of 10. I enjoyed this series so much, and for all 21 chapters for me to be on the same level and not feel like a chapter is like, it's so good.
I would give chapter 21 probably like a 7 or an 8, but I'm with you as the series as a whole. It's just like 10 out of 10. Series is just fantastic. What about Shoujo X chapter 7?
I'm flirting with a 6 or a 7 on this one.
I'm 3.
No, I enjoyed Shoujo X, but I don't know. We'll leave it at a 7.
Okay.
I can go with. I feel comfortable with a 7 on it.
What about Tokyo Avengers 219? I'm personally giving it a 10. I mean, not a 10, a 9. Sorry, I'm giving it. I was about to say,
I'm gonna give it an 8. It was really good content. I'm really hyped for that next chapter, though. I know. It's about to go down.
Yeah, true. I'm hyped because I'm giving it a 9 because of how the chapter ended. It's fantastic, great tease. I'm a sucker for a good ending, but also just because like the content was good, but the content was also just hilarious. Like, yeah, we're talking. She's like, "Can we please talk about this somewhere else?" And they're just going on roller coasters, and she's just like casually talking about her dreams and stuff. And she's like, "Tsukimichi is coming."
Here it comes.
It was just stupid. I really enjoyed it.
I didn't even realize they were on a roller coaster the first time. Yeah, I thought like, "Oh shit, something's about to go down." She's like, "Tsukimichi is coming." I'm like, "No, just roller coaster drop."
Yep. What about Eden 0156?
I'm gonna have to give this one a 7. I really enjoy Eden Zero, but the chapter had some moments, but not enough to. Oh, what are you gonna say?
I'm gonna roll with an 8 actually, just because like I thought the little brief moment we saw of Jaguar was super dope, and then the other, then the other character who comes into play is just like, oh boy, I'm excited to see what's coming out of this.
Yeah. See that was really good, and that's why it's getting a 7. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot that made me go like, oh snap, kind of like last week's chapter where it was just like, oh cool, overdrive, like
right. To Your Eternity was on a break. 7 Deadly Sins, 4 Dance the Apocalypse chapter 28. 7. Ranger Reject was on a sudden break, apparently. This was very unplanned. T's and P's. Hopefully all's good in the Ranger Reject world. Next up, Soul Leveling 164. Probably a 9, honestly. Love that ending, dude. The ending was super clean. Super clean, man. I love that whole ending, dude, because like with how this with what we got going on and the fight and everything, you have all these different monarchs that are trying to kill the Shadow Monarch before he becomes the Shadow Monarch, who is our protag. And once the real, once the full power of the Shadow Monarch starts to kind of come out, the Beast Monarch's just like, yo, I'm out. Fuck this. And the Frost Monarch's like, bro, what the fuck? You said you were going to help me beat him. And he's just like, have you ever fought him at full power? I'm out. Fuck this. And he teleports out of there. The Frost Monarch's like, fine, I'll just do it myself. And right then, that's when our protag kind of wakes up and he's just like, who told you that you could leave without my permission? And I'm like, dude, this is badass as hell. Let's go. I'm gonna give it a 9 for sure. Week Hero 152, probably an 8. And then, of course, LC to something that only Zach is reading, so no rating there. Favorite chapter of the week. I'm going to go actually Missing You as a Core Family. It's been I think it's been about a month or so since I've picked that one. But I love that chapter, man. It was fantastic.
Well, for me, there's only so many times that I can have consecutive Mashalls, but it's going to be between Mashal and Dandadan. Like, I think right now they're probably some of my top 2 series. I know I tweeted on Twitter, like, my top 5. I didn't put Mashal in it, and in hindsight, that was a great mistake.
I was wondering about that. I saw your top 5 list. I'm like, why isn't Mashal up here? Like, I'm insulted. All right, well, that does it for the show. Hopefully you enjoyed. Any thoughts on anything that we talked about, make sure to definitely comment below. Let us know. We definitely appreciate that. Josh, you got any final thoughts here before we get out of here?
Yeah, let's see if I can do this right.
Oh, here we go.
You know, subscribe to us on YouTube. Click the bell. Get the notifications. Sparky3 something. All right?
YouTube.com/Sparky3.
Got it. And you can follow us on Twitter at AniMan Plus or AniMan Podcast or whatever it is.
At AniMan Podcast.
Sometimes we post things, sometimes we don't. Shout out to everyone listening. I saw in the ranks that we're like 48 on the charts in Thailand and pretty high in Oman. So shout out to you guys. I hope I didn't butcher that name.
I did see that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out to you guys for listening, and hope you guys are having a great day whenever you're listening to this.
You know what, Josh? Give you an A+ for that. That was a phenomenal effort. Do everything he said and more. Be a friend, tell a friend that you listen to the show. We would greatly appreciate that. Of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Again, that is at youtube.com/Sparky3. Be on the lookout because we do have the AniMan Plus episode 50 on the way of 50 incredible fights in anime, manga, and webtoon. That, of course, is also going to be our 1-year anniversary of AniMan Plus. So that is pretty cool. Shout out to that. That will be coming here in the very near future. Make sure to go check out Lighthearted Gamers. Be on the lookout for a terrible football show coming right here to our YouTube channel and available on all platforms. With that said, hopefully you guys have an incredible day. Until next time, see ya.
Later.